Here at Neyland Stadium, Tennessee falls to the Florida Gators, the 6th-ranked Florida Gators, 31-19. Here on 99.1, thesportsanimal.com, and all of our digital and social media platforms. I'm Vince Ferrara alongside Eric Cain with your post-game wrap-up. You know, Tennessee has had all those issues in the second half. Coming into the ballgame 108-14, outscored in the second half. But, you know, Tennessee played a little bit better in the second half. The result for some fans is the bottom line, and that's the biggest thing. Jeremy Pruitt now 0-9 against Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. But they had a little bit more fight and, you know, rallied with a third quarterback in this game after Harrison Bailey got the start in the second half. What were the bigger storylines for you in this game?
Yes, I mean, the biggest storyline in this game is the quarterbacks, and, you know, it's hard to speak anything of it because the quarterback is the most important position on the football field. Harrison Bailey getting the start. Thought he played okay. I didn't think they asked too much of him. I thought he was real close on a couple of throws. Velus Jones Jr. that was kind of fading towards that sideline. I thought he was really close with, I think, Josh Palmer on another one. Just, you know, had a little bit too much, maybe threw a little bit too high on two. They could have been big chunk plays. But, you know, I thought he played well. He saw the field. He scrambled. He picked up some first downs. Didn't turn the football over at all. So I thought that was big. JT Shrout comes in the second half, and, you know, Jeremy Pruitt lets us know post-game that the plan was to play both of those guys. And if not for an injury late in the week to JT Shrout, they didn't really know if he was going to be able to play today. But he came in and played pretty well. And so you're right. You're talking about, you know, the second half struggles and this losing streak. Wasn't really the case here today. Yes, Tennessee gave up a touchdown right off the bat coming out of the halftime break, and Kyle Trask led the team down there, scored in a little over 2 minutes. But outside of that, Tennessee's defense forced turnover on downs, 2 3-and-outs, and really, you know, held this team into the ball game for, you know, Tennessee a chance to not only cover but, you know, climb back into this ball game late in the fourth quarter. You know, there were definitely a few things to point to that they're positives. You mentioned some of the play at quarterback, and Florida really couldn't run the ball very much. Now, here's one thing to keep in mind. Florida really hadn't been able to run effectively against very many teams this year. But nonetheless, Tennessee still deserves credit for that, and the fight was certainly there. But Tennessee just not able to do enough against that Kyle Trask and Florida passing game. I mean, too many busts in the secondary, a lot of them on third down. Kyle Trask had more than half of his passing yards at one point were on third down. So third down has been an issue for Tennessee all season long. Yeah, I think at one point 6 of 13, that they might have finished at that mark as well. It wasn't pretty regardless. 6 of 9 at one point, Right. It was crazy. And so, you know, when you played zone back there, too many soft pockets, Vince. When you played man back there, too many guys running free. And I know that secondary's banged up. I know that secondary's played banged up the entire year. But, you know, sooner or later you got to put up or shut up or, you know, move on. You know, I thought we'd see a little bit more Key Lawrence. Thought we'd see a little bit more Tamari McDonald. And, you know, maybe, you know, quarantine. Maybe they, you know, didn't play a whole lot. But regardless, you know, Kyle Trask and that offense are putting up numbers on everybody, and they scored in a hurry. 10 plays, 75 yards, 209. 6 plays, 83 yards, 236. You know, whatever it was, scoring quickly and effectively, and Tennessee just had no answer. And you thought that, you know, maybe if you got a little bit of pass rush, maybe the opportunity could be there to get some turnovers, but it just never felt that way for Tennessee tonight. Yeah, it wasn't even Kyle Pitts that killed them. It was everybody else, and that's how Florida's really evolved offensively, is they're more than just Trask to Pitts. They've really developed in a lot of ways, and honestly, they really need to run the ball today or in a lot of their wins. So 6 straight wins now for Florida, 6 straight losses for Tennessee. So the bottom line is this team is still 2-6. It still has gone the wrong direction. This is the closest in margin of defeat in any of those 9 games against Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. 12 points. The closest before that was 22 to Alabama last year. So, you know, Jeremy Pruitt sounded positive, but then when he asked, did you feel better about it in this game coming out of it, he said, no, I came here to win. So that's what you definitely want to hear. One thing he did not want to hear about, Eric, was being asked about who the starting quarterback is moving forward. He was not interested in that. Hopes he doesn't get that question again. I'm not sure if you know that the sticks mean the first down markers as well, Vince, but I don't know how much you know about football. But no, I mean, brush up. There's a frustration there for Jeremy Pruitt, and again, he is the head coach, and this is a 6-game losing streak, and he has to talk to us after the game. And I know he'd probably be doing anything else in the world than wanting to talk to us. So I kind of get it from there. But Jeremy Pruitt trying to turn things around, and a good opportunity this week with Vanderbilt on the road next week to potentially end this 6-game skid. Of course, Vandy didn't play today, but improved offensively, minus that hiccup against Missouri last week. But the Vols will try to put this losing streak to bed next week for sure.
Yeah, and now, Tennessee has to wonder and keep track of whether that game is going to take place.
Yeah.
From a contact tracing, a player availability standpoint, we'll see. And then Texas A&M after that, will the SEC be forced to make any adjustments in the schedule? So who knows? Maybe Tennessee won't be able to get back on track. I think for some, they're ready for the football season to be over, and Tennessee basketball's got a game now against Colorado.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, it's still been a tough season for Tennessee football. And we with this Tennessee team, we hadn't seen a game in 42 days at home, and I think it still would be cool for the fans. They had a capacity out of their allotment today of 22,000 plus. Would at least like to see one more Tennessee home football game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the Saturday right before Christmas if everything goes on as planned. So fingers crossed. That'd be Texas A&M coming, and Texas A&M playing for a lot on that Saturday if we get to that point. And so, regardless how the season's going, football is better than no football, and kind of getting it this late into the December month is kind of exciting. So hopefully by that point, Tennessee will be coming off a win against Vanderbilt, be playing a little bit better, and try to make a statement to finish off the season. I'm not saying pull off an upset, but try to finish off the season strong there on the 19th against A&M.
And you never know, bowl games when there's 2020 season, everybody is eligible. Those cannot be rolled out, even though people say, Tennessee doesn't deserve it. It's not about deserving in 2020. Of course, a lot of bowl games are being canceled, so we'll see how that goes. But lots to clean up. Tennessee falls to the Florida Gators 31-19. The 6th-ranked Gators get the win over Tennessee. It's 15 of the last 16 now for Florida in this series. And Tennessee will hopefully play Vanderbilt in Nashville next week. Coming up, all of our post-game coverage on 991thesportsanimal.com, all of our social media platforms, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like us there. And then, of course, Sunday Sports Sound Off with Jimmy Himes and Tim Irwin. And then on Monday, all of our local shows, starting with Eric, Tyler, and Will on the starting lineup at 6 a.m. and all throughout the day until Sports Talk, with reaction, your phone calls to Tennessee losing to the Florida Gators 31-19. For my man Eric, I am Vince Ferrara. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to make 99.1 The Sports Animal a daily visit. Thanks for the time. Good night.